Hey there, it's Shadow Penguin and welcome back to another Skyrim build. Today I'm bringing you the Arcane Dragon Slayer. Now this build is based off the build that I did my last Skyrim challenges video with, and I was sort of sitting there, I was thinking, well, I've made this build really interesting. I wonder if I can craft a cool backstory to go with it, and well, here we are. So the Arcane Dragon Slayer is a female orc and was born into one of the orc strongholds in Skyrim, Lagashpa. As a young girl, it became clear that she had been born with prodigious magical talent. The discovery of this was purely accidental, as she spontaneously healed a gash on her leg in the presence of her parents, having never strayed into the arcane before. Instead of celebrating this though, her parents hid this facet of her existence away from the others in the stronghold, as they knew that in a culture built on strength of arms and great feats of martial ability, one that could draw on powers other than those you could swing over your head and crack a skull with would be quickly ostracised. As a result of this, our build was not given the luxury of developing her talents in a safe environment, and had to blindly experiment with her abilities under the cover of darkness, expanding on her knowledge of the Restoration School, and even delving into aspects of conjuration. This was to be her downfall, however, as her parents were abruptly awoken by the sound of exuberant barking coming from outside. Confronting them was an ethereal wolfhound, with bluish smoke roiling from its translucent fur. This was the last straw for our build's parents, who felt that it would only be a matter of time before her daughter would be discovered for who she was. You would think that being turfed out of her home at an early age would have a negative impact on the young orc, but instead she vowed to never view it as such, instead approaching it as an opportunity to seek greater knowledge of other cultures and slake her thirst for adventure. She travelled the lands of Skyrim as well as Orsinium, the true land of her people. After spending 2 years there, learning more of the culture and traditions of her people, she decided to head back to Skyrim. This, however, was where things took a turn for the worse. On the road, she was set upon by bandits. Well, not set upon as such. They had noticed her weapons, saw the confident movement of a practiced warrior, spied the spell tome in the satchel at her hip. The first she heard of the attack was the whoosh of an arrow shaft and a thunk as it buried itself in her shoulder. Belatedly, she reached for her mace and swung twice, killing one of the oncoming lords and catching another on the elbow, breaking the arm. But alas, she was surrounded, and couldn't possibly fend off strikes from enemies she could not see. Feeling a searing pain in her back from the sword strike, and already weakened by the arrow, she was helpless to avoid the axe which dented her helmet and knocked her unconscious. She awoke in an unfamiliar location, a small cave with a cooking pot over a fire, to the soft crooning of an elderly man. Suddenly remembering what had occurred, she sprang up ready to defend herself, but was met with a wave of agony from her multiple injuries. Upon inspecting herself, she realised she had been wrapped in bandages on her chest and leg to cover her wounds, and to stop them from becoming infected, and realised that this old man must have been responsible. His words were indecipherable to her, owing to his lack of teeth, but his actions in saving her spoke volumes. After 2 weeks, she had almost fully recovered owing to his work and her own knowledge of restoration. The hermit himself refused recompense of any kind, and was able to begin the search for her attackers. Eventually, she was able to track them down to a cave by the name of Stony Creek Cave. She knew there was at least 6 of them, and the odds were firmly stacked against her. Since the bandits had taken all of her possessions, including her weapons and armour, she wore only makeshift leather armour, with a rock bound to a branch in a crude imitation of her mace. She had one advantage, the same they had had against her: surprise. Quiet as a church mouse, our build crept inside the cave. 7 bandits were peacefully sitting eating bread and stew, or some such concoction. Then, without so much of a second's warning, a flame matchnack was amongst them. The shrill sound of curses and metal dishes being upended filled the air, as the bandits fell upon their new adversary, hacking and slashing in a frenzy. that was the last mistake of their lives. The Atronach was once again confined to oblivion, and in its place was a huge explosion of fire and heat. All the bandits were knocked over from the blast, 2 of them on fire. As for the rest, the orc rushed in, club in hand, and swung in 4 downward arcs, 4 swings for 4 bandits. The 5th was quicker, and managed to get to her feet, but the orc swept her legs from underneath her, and her fate was the same as her companions. Now, only the chief was left. He was waiting, silhouetted against the opening of the cave. He was fast, surprisingly fast for a man of his size, but she had speed and strength to match him. His first strike was barely avoided. It nicked the flesh of her cheek, and carried on to clang musically against the side of the cavern. She swung her club in a small arc, however the chief grabbed her wrist with surprising swiftness, and his iron grip made her relinquish her weapon. Faced with no alternative, Arbil kicked her adversary in the knee as hard as she could, and as he buckled in surprise, smashed him in the face with her free hand. Caught off guard, he swung his sword again, but with only enough force to make a shallow cut on her arm. Tackling the chief to the ground, the Arcane Dragon Slayer reached over for her club, and the chief was no more. It was with great satisfaction that she reclaimed her gear, and headed off to continue her travels. However, this was cruelly snatched away from her by an Imperial ambush, simply a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was carted off to Helgon to await execution. From there, your story begins. The stat spread for this build is 40% health, 30% magicka, and 30% stamina, with her main skills being one-handed, block, conjuration, restoration, and heavy armour, although alteration is also useful as a secondary tree, with her stone being the Lord Stone. Her equipment is full dragon plate armour and shield, with the Daedric mace and or sword, plus the Dragon's Bane sword. The reason why this build makes such a good Dragon Slayer is due to the manner in which you can still do a lot of damage, whilst being relatively safe due to your summoned creatures. Dragon Priest and Dremora can tank a lot of damage from most dragon types. This allows you to have a lot of freedom in terms of attacking or evading, as well as having range potential over and above that of a bow. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time with another video.